Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the DeHart House podcast. My name is Alicia and I'm coming to you from West Texas. We are in my craft room. This is my podcast about all things crafty, knitting, crocheting, cross-stitching, you name it. My name is Alicia. You can find me on Instagram as Read Knit Run and on Ravelry as AlittyKnitsToo. I also have a shop on Etsy called DeHart House Creations where I sell handmade bags and hand-dyed yarn. You can also follow the shop on social media at DeHart House on Instagram. Whew, that's done. Okay. So this is my Craftsy Knitty podcast, and today is Sunday, September 9th. Apparently Sunday is my new recording day, which I'm totally fine with, because that means I get the house to myself and Michael goes grocery shopping. Okay, so what do I want to talk about? This is like take 5 because my phone was having issues earlier. So, first off, I released a new pattern last week called Ravelry, and that is available on Ravelry. I did not realize how much those two sounded alike. Anyway, thank you to everyone who purchased my pattern. It's just, you guys are so amazing, and I really appreciate all of you, so thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't gotten the pattern yet and you want to, it is still on discount. When I release a new pattern, I make it 20% off for the first month. So since I released it last week, you still have plenty of time. No coupon code is needed for the 20% off discount. It's automatically applied for everyone at checkout. So, again, thank you to everyone who purchased that pattern. Just, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. Yeah, so speaking of shawls and patterns and things, we are starting a knit along on September 22nd called All the Shawls of Fall. So that knit along / crochet along, crochet is totally welcome. That is all about making shawls. So that starts September 22nd and it runs until December 21st, and there will be prizes. So, knit or crochet any shawl, any size, any yarn, any pattern, for any person, I don't care. Just make something for your neck, right? So, every time you finish a shawl, all you have to do is post a picture in the finished objects thread in the DeHart House podcast group. I always forget to mention that at the beginning of the episode. We have a group on Ravelry, you guys, called DeHart House Podcast, which is where we have knit-alongs, and I post show notes and announcements and all things amazing. So, yeah, if you haven't joined the group yet, go ahead and do that, because you must be a member of the group to win prizes. You don't have to be a member of the group to join in, but if you want to win prizes, just go ahead and hit join. Okay, so I'll have a finished objects thread. I'm going to get that posted here soon with all the rules and details of the knit-along, and all you do is post a picture of your finished object in there to enter it in for the prize. So each person that finishes the shawl will post a picture. Each post counts as an entry. So if you finish several shawls, you want to put those in separate posts. And I will randomly draw winners at the end of the knit-along. If you knit one of my patterns, you'll get 2 entries, so you'll just post the same photo twice in 2 separate posts. So I have Ravelry, which just released last week and is still on discount. I have Daydreamer and Serendipity, and Serendipity is a free pattern. Yes, that's what's going on. I have 3 shawl patterns available. If you knit any one of those 3, you'll get double the entries. And that leads me into my first work in progress because I'm designing another one. Oh my god, I love designing. It's the best. So, I've been working on this for a little bit, and I didn't want to show it until the whole idea came to fruition. So, it's not finished, but I've mapped out the whole design now. So I feel confident sharing it with you. When I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do, it's like, I can't show that because what if it never goes anywhere? And then people are going to be like, what about that shawl you mentioned that one time? And I'm going to be like, yeah, that died because I couldn't figure out what to do. So now that I know what's going to happen and I can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel, I will share this design with you now. Okay, let me show it to you first, and then I'll talk about the yarn and stuff. So, Ravelry is a triangle shawl, Serendipity is a triangle shawl, and Daydreamer is an asymmetric triangle shawl. So this one has a little different shape to it. So, let's see. Good. I'm not in the middle of a row. Okay. So, I'll start at the cast on here. Okay. And we have this nice center spine. And we increase and we stripe 2 colors. And we keep striping and we keep increasing. And we keep striping, and then we stop increasing, and then we stop striping, and we do a texture, and then we change colors and do something else. And I love it so much. Okay, so it's kind of more scarf style than shawl style, but I love scarves. Love scarves. So I wanted this to be, it's like shawl-esque. Okay. So yeah, you get the beautiful striping down the ends. And then, you know, you stop increasing so you keep the same size, which is a great size for a scarf. And it's just gonna... it's going to be great. So I am clearly not, I'm not finished. I mean, it's only this wide, right? But the plan is to sort of mirror this on the other side of the scarf. So yeah, let me talk about the yarn, okay? So this beautiful, beautiful, like, what you guys would call mauve. I don't even know. Everyone's mauve is a little different. But anyway, this gorgeous, like, I would almost call it light burgundy. It's like a light burgundy. But this color here is Leading Men Fiber Arts Gothic Queen. And I love it. I just love it so much. Let me find the tag. Leading Men Fiber Arts is such great quality yarn. Look, I'm wearing glasses. Leading Men Fiber Arts. This is on their Showstopper base, and the color is Gothic Queen. So Showstopper is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. The twist on this yarn is perfect. Yeah, it's great. The color is amazing, and it's coming up really well on screen. So yeah, I love it. It's mostly solid, but a little bit tonal. So you can see some slight variations. Like here's a little dark spot. There are some light spots. It's perfect. The solid in here is, I believe, it's either a Cascade or a Knit Picks. I lost the tag and I can't remember. It's leftovers from a previous project. So I'll have to figure out which project it's leftover from to figure out what it is. Because I know I definitely put it in my notes for whatever project I used it for. But it is a solid. It's not at all tonal, it's solid. And I love the contrast. I think it just looks, oh God, look at how nice that looks. Okay, so then I threw in, I was like, you know what, I need a third color. I definitely gotta have a third color. So I went with this beautiful yarn here, which is Lone Star Arts. Haha, Lone Star Arts, and the color is Vintage Photograph. And I picked up this yarn at DFW Fiber Fest last year. Yep. And the Leading Men Fiber Arts I got at Stitches Texas, Stitches West, Stitches when they came to Dallas. And that was also last year. Yeah. So yeah, oh gosh, it looks so good. I'm really excited about it. And I think I'm really excited about it because I had trouble with this design. I don't know why, but I kept trying things and then I didn't like how it looked, so I ripped it back. And then I tried something else and I didn't like how it looked, so I ripped it back. So I was about ready to just throw out this design altogether because I couldn't make it work. Well, Tim Gunn, his spirit embodied me and I made it work. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I obviously need to weave in my ends and whatnot, but yeah, this is going to be super fun. So yeah, we'll see when I finish this. So this will, yeah, we'll see when I finish this. And that will determine some plans that I have. So, yeah, I'll talk about it again on the podcast before I post the pattern on Ravelry. So, yep, I love it. It's gonna be great, and I love the colors. I've had this Leading Men Fiber Arts wound up in a cake for months now, and I just haven't found the perfect project for it. I had this Vintage Photograph, the Lone Star Arts yarn. I had that caked up for a while, and I was using it in a different shawl, and then it turns out I didn't like the way it looked, so I ripped it out. And they've just been sitting around waiting to be used, and I finally found the project for them. So yeah, it's knit with that center spine throughout, and it gives it this nice chevron look to it, and I love it. It's gonna be really long, but you only ever have like 100 stitches on the needles, so it's gonna fly. It's like knitting a sock, but you're knitting a scarf. Yeah. So that has been the main thing that I've been working on, because I finally found my mojo again with this design. I haven't worked on Dad's sweater or my sweater. I'm just terrible. So now that I've shown you guys my progress on this, I can set it down and finish up some sweaters and then come back to the design later. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that, and I can't wait to finish it and share it with you guys. Okay, so my second work in progress, I have nothing finished for you, is a sock, and I didn't get very far from from last week. I did put a couple more rows on it, but this is a gift knit for someone, and I'm not going to share who. But yeah, I have started, this is my first knit for Christmas, and yes, it is sparkly, sparkly yarn. I'm loving how it looks and feels, actually. I thought the sparkly bit would make it more rough, and it doesn't. So I'm happy. Yeah, I love doing either magic loop or 2 circular needles. I do not like using double points. The first socks I ever knit for Michael, I used double point needles because that's what I had, that I inherited from my great-grandmother. And it was fine for the first time, but I had laddering from where you switch needles. I had laddering in between there. I felt like I had to keep the stitches really tight on the needle so that the needles wouldn't just fall out of my project. I didn't care for it. So I really like using circular needles because they're not gonna, I can shove this in a bag, I can flip this thing around, and my needles aren't gonna fall out. I don't have to worry about losing stitches. I can also easily try this on as I go because it's so flexible and I don't have to worry about the stitches coming off. And I love that. So for me, magic loop and the 2 circular needles, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. These are actually from Knit Picks. If you haven't been to knitpicks.com, you should, because they have really good prices on things. The join between the needle and the cable is so smooth. So smooth. Yeah, I really like these needles. They are US size 1. Not that that really matters, but I use US size 1 and US size 0 to knit my socks. And yeah. What else did I want to say? I should tell you the yarn. The yarn is Barocco Socks, and it's their metallic variety. So it's superwash wool, nylon, and then the sparkly bits. Yep. So, yeah, very little progress on these, but I did put on a few rows, and it's something else to talk about. Whatever. Okay. Yeah. That's all I have. That's all that I've been working on. So, yeah, it has just been really busy with work. I teach math at the college in town, and I have over 100 students, and I am always answering questions through email, questions in person, trying to help solve technical issues with things not displaying correctly on personal laptops, and it has been a busy week. So I have not done a lot of knitting because, oh my gosh, so many questions. No, I love doing my job, and I love helping people. That's why I teach in the first place, is because I love doing that. So that trumps anything else that I have on my plate. Like, oh, you have a question? Let me answer it for you. And then before I know it, it's 6 o'clock at night, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot to eat lunch. So, yeah, so it's been a bit, I come home and I just am so exhausted because I've been talking all day. I've been walking from table to table to table, just answering questions. We have a tutoring center on campus, and instead of spending my office hours in my office, I spend them in the tutoring center, which works out because then, students are already there working on their homework, and they're like, oh, hey, my teacher is here, and then they just ask me questions. But if I'm over in my office, then they're like, well, I don't want to bother her, and so then I usually don't get questions if I go sit in my office. So I spend my time over where the students actually are, and then I can answer more questions that way. However, it does mean that I am answering questions like the whole time that I'm over there. So it is more exhausting than just sitting in my office answering emails. So it has its ups and downs. I'm actually more helpful if I'm over there, but then I'm also like more tired at the end of the day because I'm moving and talking and like, let's use flashcards, let's use the whiteboard, and just anyway, I'm a teacher and I'm a nerd, so so it's been fun. It's just been really tiring, and I gotta figure something out. I don't know if the problem is that I need to pack more food to eat during the day and that's why I'm so tired, or what. So I need to figure that out. Plan A, pack more food. If that doesn't work, plan more breaks. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I gotta knit at least a row every day, right? Is that how you guys feel? I didn't get my knitting in. Okay. So, oh yes, that's what else I wanted to talk about. This piece of paper right here. So, on the last episode, which I think was 40 something, I teach numbers all day and then I can't even remember my own episode numbers. I think it was 43, 42, whatever, the previous one. So Amy asked me a question. So Amy says, I was wondering about your stash and your thoughts on how you manage it. Here is my stash. Do you ever feel overwhelmed with the quantity? No, I love that I have a wall of yarn, like quite literally a wall of yarn. I love it. I think it looks like art, basically, in my craft room, and it inspires me. I can pull a skein out, and, having them piled up this way, you only see the end of the skein, so then I'll pull it out and be like, oh yeah, that's what that skein looked like, and I just get super inspired. So, no, I don't feel overwhelmed by my stash. I also have this is a shoe rack I got at Walmart, excuse me, and I keep all my worsted weight acrylic yarn over here. And then these shelves I got from my parents, and this holds all of my woolly yarn. I've got my solids down here because I want to do more color work, so I have them separated out. I have my self-striping yarn up here. These are random balls of yarn. Some of them these are partial balls because I've used them in previous projects. I've got smaller balls from Knit Picks, just random things up here. Anyway, and there's a whole nother, maybe I'll turn the camera here. There we go. So I've got a bunch of cotton yarn up here, fiber for spinning, more fiber for spinning, and then I have, I'll just give you guys the whole grand tour. We'll just tilt this a little. I've got more up here, Knit Picks palette. I've got some figurines. I keep my yarnet up there. And then baskets full of scrap yarn. Hey guys, how do my eyeballs look? Anyway, yeah, so, no, currently, I do not feel overwhelmed by my stash. I love how it looks and that I have a wall where I just put it all. Okay. Have your thoughts changed over the years regarding how you manage your stash? Yes, definitely. I did not used to have a craft room, first of all. When I first started knitting, when I was a teenager living at home, all I could really house were a few skeins of DeHart yarn in my bedroom. And my mom had crafty storage in her bedroom. We never really had like a designated craft space. So storing stash was, you know, in a container under the bed, and out of sight, out of mind. You forget you have it and forget that you're a knitter, and that happens, right? So yeah, it used to be that stash was something you put away. It wasn't something you displayed. And now I feel more like I want it out. I want to feel like I'm in a yarn store and I have all these options, and if I have to get it out from under the bed and then lay it all out, by the time I do all that, I'm going to lose interest in the project. So yeah, my thoughts have changed over the years on how to actually store things. Even, last year? A couple years ago, whenever I started this podcast, I didn't have this shelving unit. So I stored my yarn on a pegboard, and my pegboard is over there. Currently there's nothing on it because I was using it as a warping board. Turns out it makes a terrible warping board. So, for those of you who don't know, a warping board is what you use to, what's the phrase that I'm looking for? You wrap yarn all the way around it to do self-striping yarn. So you want really long repeats of stripes and everything. So you need a really long strand of yarn before you start repeating the stripes again. So you use a warping board to go back and forth to get the layout of the skein so you can dye self-striping yarn. So I was using my pegboard for that, but unfortunately the hooks that go into the pegboard move around too much. So when I was warping, they kept falling out, which is terrible. It's terrible. So I need a new warping board situation. But, so I'm going to put all of my, I was using it as storage for my entire stash, but then my parents gave me this shelf. And of course, when you have space, you're going to fill it. At least that's how I am. If there's space, it will get filled. So this did not used to be this full. Now it is. But now I use the pegboard to hold my leftovers. So I start with 100 grams skein. I use 60 grams of it in a project. I still have 40 grams left over. I just put the cake up on the pegboard. And I like the way it looks and everything. So right now I have my pitiful warping board that I'm going to take apart and then turn it back into partial skein storage. And I like it. I like that I have the two things. I've got full skeins over here, and my leftovers over there. I've got the acrylic stuff sorted out. I've got leftovers in big jars. I will probably drop that if I try to grab it. I love it. And yes, I have changed and reorganized, expanded. And then she says, I hope it's okay to ask. I find it a super interesting topic, and I do as well. I agree with you, Amy. And yes, ask questions. I love answering questions. Math, yarn, doesn't matter. I love it. So, yeah, I have changed the way I store things. Heck, I even have my bags over here that I sew. I have them over here in containers. I have, let's just bring this down here so you can see. I've got more bags here. I have mini skein sets that I've purchased, a sock blanket there I eventually want to dye. That box over there is holding all my yarn labels of skeins that I've finished. Like they're not leftovers anymore, because I like to leave the tag with the leftovers. Obviously that wasn't super successful with one of those, but once I've completely finished that skein, then the yarn label will go in that box. And so if I ever really need to go back and look at it again, I can. How many times do I get into that box? Not very often. But it's there. And I'm a pack rat, and that's what I do. Anyway. Yeah, so basically I teach for a living. And let's be honest, teachers don't make a lot of money. So the fact that I have all of this is incredible. Now, it's just my husband, myself, and my dog. We don't have any children. We are renting. You know, we don't have a lot of... words escape me today. You know, it's not like we have a lot of expenses. So we are definitely living within our means and still able to, like, go on vacation and have hobbies and whatnot. And this is our life, and we love it. So, I do, okay, Knit Picks Felici, love that stuff. Do I get it when it's on sale? Heck yes, I do. Do I put enough in my cart at Knit Picks to get free shipping? That's right. I only purchase yarn from them like twice a year because I stockpile, get free shipping, and whatnot. So I do like binge shop. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I saw this skein and I had to have it, and so then I go order it. I'm the type that waits and tries to get a good deal. So then I am able to have all of this on the budget that I have. So that's a thing. My stash has definitely grown a lot. If it grows beyond the storage that I have, first of all, I'll have to stop shopping. And second of all, I will feel like it's overwhelming. So I have been in this mode of use what you have. There's no reason to go on Instagram and look for new colors and new bases and new things, because I have a lot. I have a lot to choose from. And so instead of going on Instagram and ordering more, I come in here to my little like display of yarn and I look around in here and I find inspiration here. Now, will I go to DFW Fiberfest in April and buy more stuff? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. But, you know, I have been working down. This cubby up here was full. It was completely full. And look at it. It is now only like half full. So I have went through a lot of my self-striping yarn. This here, I've used a lot of the solid color sock yarn, knitting colorwork socks. So, you know, I'm opening up space in here so that when I go to DFW Fiberfest, I know that I can buy this many skeins because that's what I have space for. So that's my stash storage thing, is that I don't want to go beyond this. Because if I go beyond this, I'm not ready to level up. One wall is good, and I'm happy with that. Yeah, pretty much that's that. And then, this isn't really stashed, but I've started storing my shawls in here as well. Oh, Michael's home. Which is different because once it's been knit, usually it would leave this room. But now, the yarn is still staying in this room, just in already knit up a format. So, but I like storing my shawls here because it's a nice safe place. It's out of reach of the dog. It's also something I want to display because the things we knit are beautiful. And I want to put them on display, and I feel like this is the perfect room for that. So anyway, that's all of that. And I do need to clean up this room a bit because it's a little disorganized, but whose craft room isn't? We need space to pull things out and then just leave the in-progress project out. So I have a bunch of in-progress things around the room that make it look cluttered. But yeah, it's good. Stash is good, and I'm lucky enough to have a room in the house that's mine, and I can put everything that I want in here. I have a chair to sit on. I have a desk to do sewing or anything that requires, you know, a table, and I'm really fortunate to have this situation. So anyway, that's all I have for you guys. I'm pretty sure my phone is going to stop me from recording here any second now. So have a great week. Cast on all the shawls. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!